Hi, I'm MrByZ, and today I'm going to start my kind of review series of the larger vehicles that we've gotten, gosh, almost over the past 10 years, really. You could probably go a little prior to that. But I'm going to start in 2008 with the ATTE, which was one of the first large vehicles put out by Hasbro. It was put out at the same time as the Millennium Falcon. And I actually remember getting this very well because they released the Clone Wars line as well as this vehicle at the same time. It was like right before the day before my birthday, and my parents asked me, what would you like for your birthday? And let's see, I was turning 32 that year. So really weirdly, I said to my father, I said, take me shopping for Star Wars stuff. And so he did, which was a lot of fun. And I'll never forget throwing this into the cart. My dad said, all right, that's it. I already put most of the figures in, but he's like, that's it. You're cut off. And, obviously I would have loved to got more, but, it's an awesome memory of that. I lost my dad like 5 years ago. So it's a nice memory of my dad, kind of Star Wars shopping like we did when I was a kid. So let's take a look at this ATT. So just as a quick note, yes, this vehicle did include a pack-in figure of a Clone Wars style clone trooper. I don't have it here for this review just because I haven't opened up all my Clone Wars stuff yet. But just to make that note, it's a fairly generic trooper, so I didn't feel a point to really get into it anyway. So here is the ATTE. It was a great vehicle to put out. Of course, it kind of looks like an armadillo, if you will. It has all sorts of different features. It has firing missiles, it has electronics. Inside compartments we'll take a look at. Lots of different things. Now, if you're like me, this came out with the Clone Wars line, but honestly, it got added into my, actually my Kashyyyk diorama. So it's actually been put with the mainline movie line of Star Wars figures for me. And I'll probably be showing a few real realistic clones to go with this. So let's take a look at everything that this does. Also, as a note, these middle legs right here, at the time there was an issue with them falling off very easily, and you could actually write Hasbro and they'd send you replacement legs that stayed in a little bit better. I did not do that, so my legs are still, as you can see, very loose. They pop right off. The deal just wasn't as good to keep it in there. I think I have, did I put those in there to make it better? I don't remember. But it does pop off very easily. But all the legs do have wheels on them as well, so you could kind of roll it if you wanted to. The ATTE has this number of areas for play. We have that's four seats in the front for your pilots, I guess. You see we got a little detail that opens up. We have two different doors that open up. Kind of a stairway here that's mimicked them into the panel that opens here. We have a back compartment here. One of the cool things about this is you can press this button and the loading ramp will slowly, a lot slower than I anticipated here, but it slowly opens up. So it kind of gives you that realistic look. I guess it's kind of like watching a dump truck dump, although it's not dumping anything. Now as gravity takes over, it will go a little bit quicker as we see here. And we get a nice stairway then up into our back troop and cargo compartment. As you see, we got a whole area to put your troops back here. There's areas to put guns, another area to put your blasters as well, some decals. All in all, a very cool little back area. And this was just before we got the AT-AT with all its opening features as well. Now, if we take a look at the front, we do have an opening front cockpit that the figure actually stands in. I don't know if we ever really saw that in Clone Wars or the movies, although I want to say in Clone Wars we did see a trooper standing in the front of that. We have a large gun on top as well. Now, unlike Rogue One, AT-ACT, or any of that, this doesn't walk on its own or anything like that, but it does have sounds. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And we're going to try all the sounds here. So you see we get a little green on that when we do it. And I believe that was supposed to light up. I'm not seeing that it is.
All units, fire at will.
If you hold down the button, you get different
All units, fire at will.
As you can see, it's pretty loud too.
All forward positions are advancing. Approaching droid perimeter. We are undetected. All units, fire at will. All units attack. The droid army is in full retreat. All forward positions are advancing.
That's all we got on that button, and we got a third button here. The ATTE walking. Now, does it sound much different from an AT-AT walking? I don't know. we hold it. So we just get the same thing. Now, when I can put the rear compartment back open, or back closed, I'll wait for the walking to stop here. When I press this, we get audio to go with that too.
Move out. Let's go.
And as you can tell, this is actually pretty loud. It's fairly nice. That just gets us all the same thing. Just double checking. The speaker's actually built in right in the midsection.
Let's go.
Now, this midsection, unlike the vehicle in the movie, it's supposed to be articulated, but this is where, like, the speaker, the batteries, all the electronics are housed. So, of course, you get that. Now, I swear, this gun lit up. Maybe it's when you fire it. Let's see here. Oh, it's probably saying I'm out of ammo because I don't actually have the missile in there right now. Let's see. It looks like those should light up, but they...
All units, fire at will.
It does not look like they're lighting up. It might just be when I fire off the missile, which of course I don't have right now. It's a much larger missile than these. Now we do have these front and rear missiles. Now the nice thing on these is they actually work in unison. Like you move one and it will move all four of them. Now I only have 3 missiles in here. I have to find the other one. That's the fun of moving, is finding, you get all these extra missiles, and some of them are so very generic. It's like, oh, where did they go? This is just a really cool toy. I expected them, when they put this out, it usually was Hasbro's MO at the time, that we get repaint after repaint after repaint of this, trying to resell it to us. And yet, really, they only put out this one. I know they put it later on in a large target battle pack, but it was the same deco. There was nothing new about it. So I was rather surprised with that. But, it, like I said, it did start these large vehicles. We got this in the Falcon to begin with. And we ate it up. This was, I gotta say, at the time, unlike today, you didn't really wait for these to be on clearance. You wanted these. They were awesome. And I know there's issues today with larger vehicles that a lot of people wait for them on clearance. But back then, man, you saw this. I remember that Millennium Falcon came out. It's like you had to have it right away. And it was the same thing with this. It was a brand new vehicle. It was huge. It was awesome to get. Now I'm going to go ahead and staff this with a few clones so we can get the idea of its size with figures. So here we've just added a few troopers. We've got Gree and the scout trooper down here. I put a trooper in here. We've got a trooper on the gun. I've got a couple in the back in the cargo compartment here. Just gives you an idea of how many figures you can add to this, how much more you can do. I mean, even on the stairs you can see we have pegs there to add figures. It's really rather nice. It's a big vehicle and a play set, really, which is what we were getting with a lot of these big vehicles, is they became play sets that would open up. Wait till we get to the turbo tank. There's a lot of play set value to that. So I'm sure many people who weren't collecting back in the time this came out wish they could pick this up. It'd be great if this was re-released. And honestly, I'm going through the big vehicles right now as kind of older reviews, just because I'm really excited about the opportunity to get a sail barge. Sail barge is one of those things I've always wanted. And looking at a huge one coming out, and I know the price is expensive, but it looks awesome. And so I thought I'd go back and look back at some of these large vehicles that we had of old, and that possibility of if the sail barge gets backed, that we could see things like this re-released in some form through the HasLabs label. Of course, it's going to be a lot more expensive than it was for $100 10 years ago. But still, it's a cool prospect that maybe we'll get to see these, maybe more updated, retooled versions, who knows. But to me, it's kind of a cool idea. So that is my review on the Hasbro ATTE from the Clone Wars line of 2008. I'm going to be doing more reviews of the large vehicles like the Turbo Tank, of course the big Millennium Falcon, the big AT-AT, and maybe even some of the other vehicles that aren't as big, but get into the MTT is a little bit smaller, maybe the ARC 170, the Republic gunships, maybe the smaller AT-ATs, or the larger ATST that was done. Now, I know I've done a kind of review on the Walmart exclusive one recently, but kind of getting into that and comparing. So I hope you'll join me for those. If you like this, go ahead and subscribe. I love picking up new subscribers. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and put them below. I try to respond to any questions that are in there as soon as I can. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll be back for more later. Thank you.